Hello. Naoya Inoue is speculated to be one of the hardest, if not the hardest, puncher pound for pound. As a fighter competing in the bantamweight division, light, flyweight, super flyweight divisions, he's not the biggest man at all, really, but nonetheless though, he does have to wear these extra padded gloves because his hands just can't take the force his whole body generates. Explosive, fast, with remarkable technique and boxing fundamentals, his style overall is just beautiful, perfect, while having very unorthodox elements subtly implemented as well. Speed. That is what makes Naoya Inoue so very devastating. In this segment, we'll actually be looking at just that. Versus Jason Maloney, his stance, his technique, and the root of his overall success. That said, thank you for joining me on this breakdown as we take a closer glance. Naoya Inoue has two signature tools in his kit. The first is his check hook. Engaging on Naoya Inoue is dangerous. He does have a phenomenal capacity to leave the space with his footwork and head movement. This allows him to touch his opponents, then with that quick sting of momentum, exit like a butterfly. If he sees you entering, he trusts his speed to catch you before you're able to fully commit. Note the technique on his lead hook as well. Naoya Inoue has a rare capacity to deal devastating power moving backwards. Usually you have to circle or move laterally to retain power, but Naoya Inoue, he breaks this rule with perfect technique and timing. If you enter hard, he can plant his weight onto the back leg, and as he shifts weight from that back leg into rotation. Note how his lead hook is also loaded with elastic energy. Off his ligaments, tendons, and fascia, he accelerates the speed of the overall strike. It's a perfect harmony of generating leverage, speed, and defense. Note also how he loads his weight onto the back leg as he's pulling away from his opponent's strike. This allows a mechanical advantage from the pectoral muscle when loading kinetic energy into it from the hips rotation. Think bench press. Where is your bench press strongest? It's not when your shoulders are in line with the elbows. By pulling away and rotating into his back hip, Naoya Inoue also achieves this mechanical advantage. Look. Do you see it? Look at where his elbow is. His lead hook is swinging from a lower position. Perfect body mechanics, timing, that is what allows this rare potential to accelerate speed and deliver straight up power even when he's winging his shot to a point that's so quick that he can still beat his opponents towards the punch and hurt them moving backwards. The second tool would be Naoya Inoue's lead hook to the body. I've covered this in depth in a previous segment. I'll leave a link down below if you're interested. But overall, Naoya Inoue is a very dangerous man, especially while moving backwards. The sheer threat naturally put Jason Maloney on the back foot. Just look at this reaction. He isn't confident committing versus Naoya Inoue anymore. Jason Maloney couldn't find his timing. He just kept getting beat to the punch with sheer speed. As a result, Naoya Inoue just got more and more confident, more comfortable as the fight progressed. By round 7, you really saw Naoya Inoue get a lot more comfortable, a lot more confident. His flow, it started to take over. Note also how he extends weight forward onto the lead leg for his jab. His footwork with his jabs are just nuts, always ready to leave space. He's always so nimble and bouncy, truly gifted with tight elastic ligaments, tendons, and fascia. He makes the movements seem so effortless, like he has a built-in trampoline in his body. Look at this footwork here, that in and out movement on the balls of his feet, that lead foot pointing at his opponent's lead foot. He's just coaxing his opponent to engage with footwork alone. Jason doesn't take the bait though, so Naoya Inoue instead inches in. This triggers a jab. Naoya Inoue, he was waiting for this, slipping to the outside of that commitment. Watch how his weight is loaded into his hips. Naoya Inoue, he isn't springing up like a shoryuken. That would change the center line of the uppercut. Instead, by keeping the slip, he retains trajectory along the center line. Thus, with a rotation of the hips, a beautiful uppercut connects clean along the middle as a counterpunch. He pulls, rolling the jabs off his shoulder. Just note how his feet move together as he pulls his opponent's strikes. By establishing himself as the aggressor, he has a ton of space to do that beautiful in and out footwork, while also presenting the constant threat of a lead hook counter. This all in turn keeps his opponent from committing too recklessly. He is just applying a very dangerous form of pressure. walking his opponent down, showing him different looks, even subtly taunting him with how comfortable he's gotten as the ring general. Here, watch how Naoya Inoue takes a half step, sinks into his weight, and shimmies his shoulders. It's a feint. He wants Jason to react. He wants him to extend. Coaxing for a strike. Jason Maloney, he instantly takes the bait. It was a half step, throwing Jason's gauge off for the distance, heavily extending against that feint. Naoya Inoue, he has the strike barely graze him as he loads into an overhand. This allows the strike to go over his opponent's jab and also accelerates the strike off his fascia. It's a nuke. Boom. Jason likely thought it was going to be a lead hook, but Naoya Inoue perhaps believed his programming went well. Thus, before the connection, he was right. Look. Just before the connection, just notice Jason's eyes. He doesn't see the punch at all. He has no flinch to it. His eyes aren't closing even as a reflex. Magic trick. Misdirection. His focus was elsewhere. Boom. From there, with Naoya Inoue connecting with so many fadeaway check hooks all fight, Jason Maloney, he just didn't expect this overhand despite the slight telegraph. On connection, Jason Maloney, he was zapped into a haze. From there, he was no longer able to continue the fight. Naoya Inoue has a lot of textbook boxing fundamentals fueling his game, and they're so clean, so eloquently executed that we can't help but be in awe. Nonetheless though, when we do slow it down, we can see a lot of things that deviate from the textbook. Naoya just has another realm of understanding integrated into his game, and the novelty of that game paired with his insane speed and reaction time, it just makes him very hard to deal with. Undefeated at 20-0 with 17 wins, zapping his opponents out of consciousness. Right now, Naoya Inoue appears to be fluctuating around top 3 on various boxing pound-for-pound lists. He's a remarkable fighter, clearly a scholar of the game who understands and executes the fundamentals in pristine fashion while also having a knowledge advantage, another element refined pristinely that isn't available in the same textbook, or at least not to the same degree. This in turn gives him a knowledge advantage and just appears to make him a very hard fighter to prepare for, thus deal with. What are your thoughts on Naoya Inoue? Every time I take a closer glance, I'm just blown away by how skilled he is. Clearly, he's an example of how we can all continue to grow in our own understandings. It's not just genetics, he's doing something different as well. To that end, I'd love to hear your perspective, your thoughts on the matter, and Naoya Inoue, thank you for this lesson. Until next time, peace.